In the sun-scorched fields of 19th century Brazil, where coffee plantations stretched as far as the eye could see, lived a man known only by a name that echoed through time: Pata Seca. Born Roque José Florencio, his story begins like many others in the African diaspora, in chains. Enslaved from birth, his life was not his own, yet he became one of the most talked about figures of Brazil's brutal slave era. His nickname, Pata Seca, meaning dry paw, was a reference to his unusually large feet, but the name would grow to symbolize far more than a physical trait. He would be remembered not just as a man, but as a legend, a mythic figure crafted at the crossroads of truth, survival, and exploitation. Pata Seca's fate was sealed by his body. He was tall, strong, and dark-skinned, traits that made him ideal in the eyes of slave owners for one grim purpose: breeding. In the twisted economy of slavery, enslaved people were not only forced to work, but also forced to reproduce. Slave owners believed that stronger enslaved men could create stronger children, and Pata Seca was treated as livestock, ordered to father children with dozens, perhaps hundreds, of enslaved women. It's said he fathered over 200 children, none of whom he was allowed to raise or protect. For the owners, he was a tool to expand their human inventory. For the women, he was both a fellow victim and a forced partner in their trauma. But behind the myth of his sexual prowess lies the forgotten truth of his pain. While later generations turned his story into folklore, a tale of a man with insatiable virility, this narrative erases the abuse he endured. Pata Seca had no choice in how his body was used. His identity was reduced to a function, a role he could not escape. His humanity, his desires, and his emotions were stripped away by a system that saw black bodies only for labor and reproduction. The legend of the Black Stallion is not one of pride, but of a legacy of suffering disguised as strength. Still, Pata Seca's story didn't disappear into the dust of forgotten plantations. In Brazil, his descendants are believed to still live, unknowingly carrying the legacy of a man whose life was lived for others, yet who remains present in the collective memory of Afro-Brazilian history. His name is spoken in hushed tones, celebrated and mourned all at once. Some remember him as a symbol of power, while others see the sorrow in his tale, how one man could be remembered for the children he was forced to create, rather than the life he was never allowed to live. His story challenges us to confront uncomfortable truths about slavery and how we remember it. Pata Seca was a man caught in the cruel machinery of colonization, used to perpetuate a system that dehumanized everyone it touched, and yet his story survived. It reminds us that within the myths of the African diaspora are real people, people who felt, who dreamed, who hurt. When we honor Pata Seca, we must honor not just the legend, but the man behind it, the one who never got to choose, yet whose name refuses to be forgotten. As we tell his story, let it serve as a mirror and a warning. The legacy of slavery is not only in the chains, but in the myths that were built to justify them. And the fight to reclaim our truth, our history, and our humanity continues. Pata Seca is not just a figure from Brazil's past. He is a part of all of us in the African diaspora, a reminder of how far we've come and how much further we must go. If this story moved you or offered new insight, we invite you to like, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to A History in Color, where untold truths and vibrant legacies come to life.